How's it going, everyone? It's Ben Foggins, Media Corner, back again with a brand new video for today. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time for this new episode for the series is going to be my review on the 2024 animated martial arts comedy film, and this is the fourth entry to this franchise that began since 2008 by DreamWorks Animation, and that is Kung Fu Panda 4. As I said, this is the fourth entry to the Kung Fu Panda franchise, and this is directed by Mike Mitchell, whom has made a few animated films with DreamWorks before, namely Shrek Forever After and Trolls. And you also may know him for being the director of other films such as Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo, Surviving Christmas, Sky High, Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked, and the Lego Movie 2, the second part. And in this new entry to the Kung Fu Panda franchise, we see that Po, once again voiced by Jack Black, he's tapped to become the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. And while we see this evil sorceress known as the Chameleon, who's voiced by Viola Davis, she plans to resummon all the master villains from the previous movies that Po has vanquished to the spirit realm. So that's pretty much the story of Kung Fu Panda 4. Now, I did rewatch the three Kung Fu Panda movies in preparation for this movie, and they are still great. They definitely do hold up to this day here. I really enjoyed the first movie a whole lot. It's a really awesome yet entertaining martial arts animated movie, and it's one of my few favorites that DreamWorks Animation has ever had to offer for their film library. And I really enjoyed the sequels just as much as the first movie. And so when I heard we were getting a fourth movie back then, I was really looking forward to this one here, since I tend to enjoy the series quite a bit here. And this film came out on the 8th of March of this year in the US, but we didn't get this just a few weeks later, which came out towards the end of March in the UK, which came out the same day as Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, which I wanted to see that film first, and so I saw this movie the next day, and I did see this one at my job for free, and there was quite a fair amount of children and adults in the screen that I went to for this movie. And after viewing this movie here, unfortunately, I would have to say this is the weakest entry to the franchise here, but I wouldn't necessarily say this movie was bad. I overall had a solid time here with Kung Fu Panda 4 here. The biggest problem I do have with this movie here is that the film lacks some of the deep meanings here, like the darker moments here, because the previous three films did have some darker elements, and I found those elements to be really intriguing, especially the second one, which I thought the elements in the second film were really more darker than the other movies that we've had of this franchise. But this film does tend to have some of those elements here, but again, there isn't a whole lot of that here, which I found that very disappointing here. But when it came to its humor here, for the most part, it does tend to be pretty enjoyable here, mostly due to the mishaps of Po that we see him getting into during his adventure in the film here. And we even cut to some of the moments with his dads in the film, where they're trying to find him in the film. And I found their moments to be generally pretty entertaining here for the most part. And I like the themes that the film represents here, which is basically about changing. And I found all of that to be pretty strong here within some of those aspects of the film here, when we get to see some of that being played out within this movie during the adventure that we see Po getting into in the film, when he meets up with this new character named Zen, who's voiced by Awkwafina, and they have to work together to try and stop this new bad guy they're going up against, which is the Chameleon. And as for the voice work for the most part for the film here, I found it to be overall pretty entertaining here. From the returning voice cast from the previous movies, like Jack Black, he's still once again entertaining as Po. Dustin Hoffman is once again really good as Shifu. And Bryan Cranston and James Hong as Poe's dads, they're just generally entertaining in the film once again here. And you've got Ian McShane returning in this film as well as one of the villains from the previous movies, which is Tai Lung from the first movie, and he's once again really good here. And as for the new voice actors in this movie, like you've got Awkwafina as Zen, I really like this character here, and I found her backstory in this film to be pretty interesting here. And you've got Quan, which I thought he was really good within this movie as well. And Viola Davis as the villain, the Chameleon, I thought she was really good as the villain here. And as for its animation here, it is still really gorgeous to look at here in terms of the character models and designs and the action scenes, which for the most part were generally enjoyable here. But all in all, Kung Fu Panda 4, unfortunately, I would have to say this is the weakest entry when it comes to this franchise here. But again, it certainly isn't a bad watch here. It was overall a solid watch here. It still had some of the things I did expect to see out of this film here. But for the things I did wanted to see out of this film here, just left me disappointed here from not being really focused on that much here within this movie here. But if you're a fan of this franchise, or you're a fan of like any of the stars like Jack Black or anything, I would say this is definitely a good popcorn treat for the kids here. So that's pretty much all to say about Kung Fu Panda 4. I'm going to give Kung Fu Panda 4 3.5 out of 5. as I said, this movie was overall a solid watch here, even though I would have to say this is the weakest entry when it comes to this franchise here. But there were still a few portions of the film I did find myself enjoying quite a bit here, but for everything else, did leave me pretty disappointed here, unfortunately. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching for my AK After I Saw review on Kung Fu Panda 4, and let me know what you think of this new entry to the franchise, if you've seen this already, or if you just recently checked this out. Did you have fun with this, or are you very disappointed with this new entry? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been Falcon's Media Corner signing off.